right, there you have it. So if you've not left your house, or if you've left, at least Doreen has kept you updated on what we should expect. And maybe my cameraman can just show the gentleman here. Okay, that is called David. Cameraman, director. Very good. That is David. We are going to talk about tax today. Today is the deadline for you to file your tax returns. The question is, have you filed your tax returns? And what is the importance of you doing so? If you don't, what happens? Okay, so we are here. The gentleman called David. But before then, we can just take a very short break. And when we come back, the show continues. Stick around. All right, okay. So, my director says that 2020. All right, so with me in studio, I have one gentleman called David Busaule. That name is a tongue twister, bro. It's a tongue twister. David Busaule, who is an assistant manager at Business Transformation Office under Domestic Taxes Department, KRA, right?
Yes.
I got it right. Yeah. Thank you for coming and welcome to the program. The first question is, have you filed your returns as David?
Honestly, I have not filed my returns, and
you see?
Please don't sacrifice me. The whole reason is where I work, I want to be able to see the experience of taxpayers, and every time maybe someone says the system is not up and running, I can always log in as a taxpayer and be able to confirm that is. But I'll file my return for sure.
So today is the deadline?
Yes, today is the deadline.
First of all, let me just start this conversation by asking, what's the importance of me, or as a Kenyan, to file his tax return from your own point of perspective? You know, the way you see it. Why?
For me, filing of returns is the tax laws, of course, require every taxpayer to file a return.
Yes.
A return for the specific source of income you're earning. So there are different types of returns for the different obligations. And from the filing of the return, it's a clear communication to KRA of the incomes you're earning, whether it's business, whether it's employment. So that filing of return becomes a very clear communication that I'm only having employment income, or if you're filing for business income or for rental, you communicate directly to KRA through filing a return on the sources of income. Second, apart from complying with the tax laws and on the requirement to file a return, it is important again to file a return, because it's through filing a return that if in case you're in a refund position, that the refund position can only come through filing of a return.
So the KRA will have your records?
Yes.
Yes.
We'll have your records that you had this, maybe you paid this much of taxes, or this much of taxes were withheld from you or deducted from you, and maybe you are liable to pay this much, and if whatever you are liable to pay is less than what was deducted or paid in advance on your behalf, then of course you are liable for a refund. So it's only through filing of a return that you can be able to do that.
Yes.
Again, filing of return is the one which filing of return allows the taxpayer to know if they are in a payable position, meaning they owe KRA some money, and maybe they need to settle it again, because at some point, depending on the sources of income you have, you may be required to still pay some taxes after the end of the tax period which you are filing for.
Yes, that's
very clear again. And again, on the other side of different services in the economy requires you to have a tax compliance certificate. So that compliance journey, filing of a return again, and the subsequent payment of the respective taxes allows you to be able to be issued with a tax compliance certificate, which can allow you get a job in different, especially government-related jobs and other tenders and all other services where a tax compliance certificate is.
Yes, you talked about government tenders and government, because every time someone goes for an interview, first of all, there is that tax compliance certificate that is required of you.
Yes.
So we take these things for granted as Kenyans, right?
Yes.
And it's quite important for me. How, for example, now today is the deadline. How can one go ahead and file the returns? For that person who does not understand, for the first time he's going to file his or her return, how does one, file his or her return?
Okay, the filing of return is again very specific to the source of income you have. I'll start maybe with Those ones who have not earned any income in 2020, for those ones, KRA will expect them to file a nil return if you didn't have if you didn't earn any taxable income in the year 2020. So of course, filing a nil return is very straightforward. Just log into iTax, go to file nil return and submit. Very straightforward for that category. The second category we have is persons with employment income only. So for those ones with employment income only, no side hustle, no other income, employment income only, quite a good number of, again, taxpayers are in that category. For those ones, we'll expect them again to log into iTax. For those, we have two ways they can file a return. They can use the option of the web-based populated return. We call it the ITR for employment income only, which fetches all the information from your respective employers' pay returns, and now it's already pre-populated, and it's just for you to confirm against your P9 form if the information is correct. Then you'd be allowed to capture the pension contribution and the personal relief, and it's very simple to file that return for sure, because much of the information is already pre-populated. For the other persons, maybe whose employers may not have filed maybe from January to December due to one reason or another, for those ones, we may require them to use the offline Excel option. So we have two options: the web-based return and now the offline Excel options. And again, with the P9 form, very straightforward. Once you download the return, you just capture the details from the P9 in the Excel income tax return, confirm the tax due is correct, and everything is adding up as per your P9 form, and of course you upload the return. So that's the second major category. The third category I can say is persons with other sources of income. So those that may include taxpayers with other sources of income, maybe from business, from rental, but rental specifically the ones who are not filing the monthly one, the ones who are in the annual regime. We have other persons with earning commissions, people earning professional fees. All those now we can just say other sources of income. For them, we'll still expect them to come and declare those incomes in the return. The return has a section called the profit and loss account. They'll be able to declare the income and also claim any expenses which they incurred to generate that income. And in case there is still some taxable income, it's the one which will be brought to tax. And if there is any tax to pay, in addition to maybe some installment taxes they might have paid, or some withholding certificates they might have received during the year, again they'll be required to file a return and pay the taxes.
David, do we have Kenyans who don't pay taxes and yet they are eligible to pay taxes? People who are sticky.
Yes. I think in every culture, and I think it's not just in Kenya, I think all over the world, we have persons who are liable to pay taxes and they are not paying taxes. And as KRA is taking a tax-based expansion and enhancing our compliance initiatives very seriously, and that we are using specific initiatives to try nab such taxpayers who we know for sure you ought to have declared these, and maybe either you filed a nil return or you declared a low amount. So those are part of our normal data-driven compliance initiatives at KRA to be able to turn around those taxpayers and of course enhance the tax base.
The taxman, you people, you're a busy lot. You're a busy lot. So what happens to those people who do not file their returns? The sneaky lots.
For sure, the cost of non-compliance is high, and for an average Kenyan, they may. When I interact with some of my friends and even other acquaintances, when you interact with them, they take not complying with taxes as a small issue, but it's quite a big issue, because when KRA now catches up with you and we have maybe to go 5 years backwards and raise those back taxes and charge you penalties and interest, then you realize it becomes a very expensive initiative to try to comply with that. And of course now we'll come and we will not just focus on 2020. If we have information or data within KRA or even within our third parties or where we suspect Victor has been operating, let's say, a business in let's say Sili from 2015 to date. When you have that information, we'll have to look backwards and see to what extent has Victor been operating such a business. And you realize now we'll come back and using the best information available to us raise additional assessments on you, and of course they'll come with additional penalties and interest. So when you add the issue of penalties and interest in addition to the principal tax, then you realize penalties and interest is a necessary evil any taxpayer can avoid if they choose to be compliant, because principal tax is the only tax liable to you. But again, if you are not compliant, then KRA has the avenue to impose other further penalties and interest on your non-compliance. And of course, it becomes very expensive to comply at the end of the day.
Yes, and that is why most people, when they hear that taxman is coming after them, they disappear.
Of course, you can disappear, but I think hiding from the taxman for the rest of your life will also be very hard.
It's hard,
especially with advances in technology and government systems, and basically government automating its systems across board. It will be very hard to run away from any one government agency, including KRA, because at some point you may run away from us, but there is some information required by Ministry of Lands which you still need to come to KRA. And I think at that point, with the advances in technology across government, it may be hard to hide from
you'll be found from your hide.
You'll be found from there's a service you'll need, and that is the one which you'll be
actually it will
flagged.
have to catch up with you at some point in life.
You'll have to.
The question is that you know, Kenyans, are they so much aware about the importance of filing their returns, you know, or we just wait like, you know, I didn't file my returns in 2019, 2020, we are in 2021, nothing has happened. Do we have enough information there?
Where I sit, KRA has done a lot to create awareness. Even in this COVID era, we've capitalized so much on a lot of virtual engagements with our taxpayers, a lot of emails. Our social media platforms are very active.
I get a lot of
reminding. I know.
Almost on a daily basis.
I know at some point it's like KRA what's wrong.
It's like it's like I get a memo every day from KRA, but I think it's a good reminder.
I think because KRA is looking at what are these avenues it can use to reach the largest population, or the largest targeted population of their taxpayers. And again, our communication has to be very targeted, because using data in our systems, you are able to segregate taxpayers, and we're able to know maybe this one has been filing nil returns. Again, the communication should be most likely, maybe we suspect you're still in school, then most likely the communication should be, kindly note you're supposed to file a nil return, so that we're just letting you know. For the ones with employment income, again, we remind them and we remind employers, please issue P9s to your employees, because the P9 form is very critical for persons with employment income to file their returns, and other persons with business income, other sources of income apart from employment. Again, the information is very targeted. You are required to pay some installment taxes during the year. You are required to do this and this. So that segregation is very key. And now, using that segregation of taxpayers, KRA is able to reach out to different taxpayers with different information. We've provided a lot of tutorials on filing. It's only that maybe Kenyans a lot may not know, but there are a lot of tutorials on filing, including videos, including step-by-step guides. So anyone who wishes to really comply with taxes, I think in this era, KRA has really has really done its best to push that knowledge to the taxpayer on what they need to do to comply with taxes.
What is the uptick right now as you speak? Because today is a deadline, and we expected almost every Kenyan who is supposed to file his or her return to shall have done so by end of today. Approximately, what's the uptick? Because
it's very dynamic, but I can give by around maybe give a statistic of around yesterday at around 10. At around 10, we were at about 4.5 million of returns filed for, of course, compared with last year, same date. Same date was at around 3.8. So I think there is still a good increment, a good
out of what particular number?
Because now our tax base, of course, we should be having we have quite a number of pins in iTax. Maybe you can say about 9 million or something, or thereabouts, or up more than that. So you realize we are still, as much as the returns are quite many, there is still much more to be done to bring more taxpayers to file returns, and especially maybe the ones who don't have any income, they believe they don't need to do anything, and I think as KRA we may need to move towards that front and ensure that is either you're filing a nil return if you don't have any other income, you're filing a proper return for the income you have, and KRA I think is working on that to enhance the numbers. So the filing on a global scale, you may realize the filing compliance may look a bit lower, but it's because a PIN is required for many other transactions in the economy, not necessarily for tax. And even of course some of the issues KRA is trying to look into is to try see can we have a PIN maybe for tax purposes, and can we have just one for regulatory purpose, so that we don't, it's not taken as one one PIN for everything, yet you just needed it to do a one-off transaction, or you needed to open a bank account. No tax implication per se at that point, but so those kind of affect the numbers. But so far we are still we still made a lot of progress since iTax came on board at around mandatory filing in iTax started in 2015, and we've seen an incremental we've seen an increase in filing rate every year, thanks to a lot of efforts in creating awareness within the organization.
Some would ask that you know, if I have a friend of mine, for example, if I have David at the desk here, can I just ask you to help me file my returns, or go to a cyber, or just do it by myself? How is it a crime to ask someone at KRA to help me file my returns?
Not a crime. As an organization, we are trying to reduce the dependency on some functionalities like filing a return on KRA employees, because now it kind of releases the resources to support the specific category who may have real struggles, because we may still need a few people to be assisted here and there. Maybe they are due to their maybe IT skills, maybe due to their literacy level. We have different taxpayers, and they could be genuine ones who really need a lot of support, but those who can be able to navigate a smartphone should be able to file a return. Because if you can do stuff on your smartphone and navigate here and there, even filing a return should be possible. And it's not a crime for a KRA employee to file for your return, but we always encourage all our staff across board to be able to pass the knowledge to taxpayers, so that even if you are assisting them now, assist them as you show them how it is being done, so that maybe come next year they can now do it on their own.
You are not probably David is no longer at KRA and I need to file my returns. How will I do it? The question is, we have people who always, every financial year, they file nil returns. And KRA said, you know, we are going to we are going to cancel and, you know, cancel your PINs. How is that so? Is it supposed to be that way? A penalty?
Okay.
There are people who just file nil.
For sure, we can't rule out that some taxpayers some of our taxpayers are hiding behind filing of a nil return, even if they have some taxable income they need to declare. And as I said in the beginning, those are now KRA is having a separate initiative dealing with such taxpayers, turning nil filers to persons who are contributing now to the economy and contributing to the tax base, and of course paying taxes here and there. And of course, again, filing return, yes, filing a nil return is not a crime as long as you don't have any taxable income. But if you're having a taxable income, then it's an offense to file a nil return, yet you have taxable income. And in the event that KRA realizes that you knowingly or unknowingly omitted some information, then they will take corrective action by issuing respective assessments depending on the information within our disposal. But to encourage Kenyans, most of the taxes, and especially the one we are talking about in this season, is income tax. Income tax is a very straightforward tax, because you're not paying tax on it's a tax on the income you've made, and if really your business is in
they say that give Caesar what belongs to Caesar.
Yeah, so if you've made some income, then it's only that point that you're being you are paying some taxes to KRA. Even if you've made, let's say, $1 billion of sales, and you have you have supporting expenses which are more than $1 billion, then of course you'll not pay. So, that message maybe needs to be taken further, because most you may realize a few Kenyans out there, they may think paying taxes is more of something eating into their business, but it's actually most of the taxes are on the income you make, and not especially the annual ones.
So many people would ask, you know, probably down there, somebody runs a kiosk. How can such a person be put on the line of filing a tax return? Or mama mboga, or, you know, motorcycle repair man out there, are they supposed to file their returns?
Yes,
because they live from hand to mouth.
Okay, in Kenya, you know, this term hand to mouth is maybe very relative, and some people may say they're living hand to mouth, but they're living large. To them, hand to mouth is maybe they expected to make 10 million before they think like they're outside the hand to mouth. But having said that, everyone with a PIN and everyone who's earning some taxable income should file a return. It's the return which brings out whether you ought to pay KRA or not. And let me use the example of, let's say, someone with a kiosk in the village. He will buy some products from the wholesalers, maybe within the vicinity of where they're located. That becomes, let's say, their purchases. And then they will keep on selling. So to such a person, it's more about the records they keep. Because now he'll be able to know that I made 100,000. Let me even use 1 million. He may be able to know he made 1 million between January and December 2020, but maybe his purchases were made, let's say, 800,000. You realize even if that person comes and file a return, his income is already 200,000. The relief for the year may still be more than the income, the taxes on the 200,000. So he may still end up not paying. So he may have filed a return declaring the income, but he may still not end up paying any taxes, because the taxable income which he has made in that year, once taxed, and the annual relief the commissioner gives to every taxpayer, you realize the relief is more than the tax payable. So and of course we have other simple taxes like the turnover tax, which we encourage all our taxpayers who are of course with a few exceptions, but the ones who are generating who are having business income, and it's from 1 million to 50 million, they can take advantage of the turnover tax, because it has less documentation, and you only come to file a monthly return, and we charge you on the turnover at the rate of 1%. So it's a simpler tax for the informal sector, compared to this one where you have to keep the records of all your sales, all your purchases in the year, for you to arrive at a certain taxable income.
The question of PIN. How will what are some of the repercussions, for example, if one doesn't file his or her return by fall of midnight tonight? The question is, are you going to give me or that person an extension, KRA?
Given the circumstances which we are in today, and of course KRA has always been KRA has been tracking the progress of how the returns are coming in. The system is stable enough. It's receiving returns in the excess of hundreds of thousands in the last few days, and you realize that stability enough. We are confident every Kenyan who wishes to file the return today will be able to file a return and declare the respective income they earn. So for having said that, so far we don't have any indication, and we may not be giving any extension, because there is really no pressing reason which should push KRA to issue the extension this time, because and even last year, because again with COVID, I think most people, a good number of people are working from home. They're having flexi working hours here and there. I think it also helps in them trying to get time to file their returns.
we just need to take a break, but when we come back, this is it. So from the taxman office, they say there is no extension. If you don't file your tax by fall of midnight tonight, that's it for you, and you'll suffer the consequences. Personally, I have filed my returns, so I'm a loyal Kenyan. I am a loyal Kenyan. All right, so let's take a break, and when we come back, David, we are going to ask you the story of people say, his system imehang bana nani, system haifanyi. So what are we going to do about it? Okay, are we doing so much so that Kenyans can get to file their returns quickly and promptly, so that we move on to the next phase of life? So let's take a break, and we come back. We're still having this conversation with David here from the Taxman office. Today we are here. We'll be right after this break.